Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of social science. Students, this is I think the fourth lecture for chapter number 10, which is India Agriculture. Let us take a quick recap of what we have learned so far in this chapter. You have the material available with you, so you can look in from there. First, we learned that India is an agrarian country, which is a very important question. Carries 2 marks, but it's quite important. We have to prove that we are an agrarian country. We are dependent on agriculture because majority of the labor force that we have in India, out of that 60% of that labor force is engaged in the field of agriculture and related activities. Out of the gross national product, whatever we produce, if we put all of that and we consider that gross national product, GNP, then out of that 100%, 22% is the share that is given by agriculture. We have fertile lands, we have rivers coming down from Himalaya, from Western Ghats, from different mountain ranges. So that sweet water of these rivers is irrigated to the crops. We are a country which is dependent on monsoon. We have lots of different geography, lots of different topography. So majority of our population, since the starting of the civilization over here, we are dependent on agriculture. So India is dependent on agriculture, so we are an agrarian country. But our per hectare yield is less than that compared with the rest of the world because of some of the drawbacks that we have. In spite of having good geography, good topography, lots of rainfall, conducive environment to have lots of different varieties of crops, agriculture products, we have hard-working farmers. All of that is something good we have so that we can get a maximum output from agriculture. But there are some drawbacks which is not enabling us to get the maximum that we should get from per hectare yield. High population, uncertainty of rain, irregular rain, not proper facilities or improper facilities of irrigation, big families, smaller farms, no interest in experimentation, illiteracy, poverty, less usage of chemical fertilizers, modern machinery, scientific approach for farming, cultivation, educated mass leaving the farm and going and settling in the cities for white collar jobs. Lower status in the society is given for agriculture. So all these are hindrances, they are the drawbacks that does not allow us to get a good and proper per hectare yield. Then we learned the different types of farming that we do. Subsistence farming, where you grow for your survival only. Dry farming, which is taken from areas where less rainfall is available. Wet farming, where there's lots of rainfall. Shifting agriculture, basically done in hill areas, mountainous areas and jungle areas. Plantation agriculture can be done according to the climate and geography, soil, but it's done on a very large scale. Lots of capital is required. Know-how, technical know-how is also required. Intensive farming, where you do agriculture plus have some cattle rearing, poultry farming, or you keep a rotation of crops so that maximum time of the year your farm is under growing some agricultural products. Then we learnt about the different methods of farming, that is sustainable farming, where you go only to sustain yourself, but along with that, you keep the environment clean, do not pollute the land, water, river, and the land gives you lots of good crops for quite a lot of number of years, so that essential maintenance of the soil is also taken. All that is sustainable farming. Mixed farming, where along with agriculture, sericulture, cattle rearing, poultry work, etc. is done, that's called mixed farming. Then another method is organic farming. That is a separate question and it carries lots of importance. Nowadays, organic farming, organic products are in demand because we use lots of chemical fertilizer, chemical pesticide, insecticide, all of that goes into our body at the end and we fall sick, have lots of diseases, and we have to spend a lot on medication or medicines. And our health deteriorates because we use lots of chemicals in agricultural products. Opposite to that, no chemicals are used in this type of organic farming. Natural beneficial material is provided to the soil so that the plant grows in a healthy environment. It gets all the nutrients it wants from the natural things like manure, etc. given to it. And in today's time, organic farming or organic products are quite in demand and people are ready to pay more for it, so it's quite beneficial for the farmers also. Then we started learning about the agricultural products in India. We saw that all the agricultural products, they are basically divided into 3 seasons, that is monsoon, winter and summer season. The monsoon crop is known as Kharif crop, whereas the Rabi crop is known, which is taken in the winter. This crop is taken in the summer season. Then we saw the different crops that are taken during these seasons, that is paddy, maize, jowar, etc. they are taken during the Kharif season. Wheat, gram, barley, they are taken during the winter season, that is Rabi crop, and cucumber, groundnut, maize, paddy, they are taken as summer crop, some of the places. Then we learnt about the major classification of agricultural products into 8 different types. They are food grains, pulses, oil seeds, beverages, cash crops, condiments, fruits, vegetables, all these make up some 8 classification, and we learned the names of some of the products that are classified into this. For example, tea, coffee, cocoa, they fall in the beverages. Then oil seeds, they are groundnut, till, soya bean. Pulses are tur, moong, or all the kathol that we have. Food grains are paddy, wheat, barley, millet. Cash crops are cotton, sugarcane. Condiments, cumin seeds, fennel seeds, isabgol, coriander, all these are condiments. Then we have fruits, lots of them, mango, banana, chiku, papaya, all these. Vegetables, lots and lots of that. So majorly all the agricultural products are classified. Then we started learning with the most important food crop. We started with food crop, where we are going to learn all the major food crops. Out of that we learned paddy, which is quite a long answer and it carries complete 4 marks. So paddy, that is rice. First, an introduction that paddy is one of the most important crop of India. Half of the world eats that rice, and half of India's also population eats that. Important to remember, after China we stand second in rice production. Then favorable conditions to grow paddy, the states producing paddy. Then we learnt about wheat as the crop of India, the introduction, then favorable conditions, climate, rainfall, etc. Then producing states, Then we also learned the uses of wheat, why wheat is known as king of grains, why Punjab is called the wheat ball of India. So all this we have learned up till now. So now let us go ahead with the remaining food grains and other agricultural products in this lecture. The next crop that we are going to learn is the crop of jowar. Now jowar, bajra, ragi, all these they called coarse grain. Coarse grain, they're smooth. When atta is made, they are quite smooth, but it's quite heavy for digestion. So usually people who do lots of manual labor, for example farmers, or say people going to a lot of hard work in the industrial areas, all of them, they prefer more, they don't prefer roti chapati made out of wheat, but they prefer the rotlas made out of wheat, jowar, bajra. Why? Because they need lots of fiber, because they do hard work, they need lots of fiber, they need lots of stamina to keep on doing that. So these agriculture products, they supplement the needs of these hard-working laborers. So jowar is it's known as a coarse grain. Jowar is the third most produced grain in India after paddy and wheat. So in India, the largest amount of food grain grown is rice. After that, wheat is the second largest food crop that is grown in quantity also, and after that the number is of jowar. Jowar is the third most produced grain in India after paddy and wheat. Now very interesting thing about jowar is, you can underline over there, it is both, it's a kharif crop as well as a rabi crop. Temperatures ranging between 25 degrees centigrade to 30 degrees centigrade is the requirement to grow jowar. 125 centimeter of rainfall is required. More important, black and loamy soil is required, are favorable conditions for growing jowar. So wherever black and loamy soil is available, you can grow jowar. For example, Maharashtra. Maharashtra is the quite they eat, whereas in Gujarat we eat rotlas made out of bajra. We go to Maharashtra, they will eat rotla made out of jowar. It's a white grain. We have that bajra. It is mainly produced in Maharashtra. Maharashtra is written as the first state. That means that is the highest producer of jowar. Maharashtra followed by Karnataka, then Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. These are the 5 major jowar producing states in India. Surat and Tapi districts in Gujarat grow maximum quantity of jowar in Gujarat. First we learn about the maximum producing states in India. If that particular product also grows in Gujarat, then we should also learn the districts which are the largest producers of that particular agricultural product or crop. So in Gujarat, Gujarat stands at number 5 in production of jowar. But in Gujarat we have the Surat district, which is the highest producer of jowar, followed by Tapi. These two districts, they majorly grow jowar in their area. Now this chapter also includes map work, which we will be doing separately once we are complete with at least half of the agriculture products. Next we come to give an introduction of millet or bajra crop. As I said, all of these are included in course. Now we come to bajra. Millet is considered to be the grain of laborers. As we discussed, it gives more fiber, it gives more nutrients that are required by our body. So millet is considered to be the grain of the laborers. It is grown in regions having temperatures between 25 degrees centigrade to 30 degrees centigrade. That means if it is growing in Gujarat, it should be grown during the winter season when temperature is less. So same way, in other states also, when the temperature is somewhere between 25 to 30 degrees centigrade, then that can grow if favorable soil is also available. Temperature requirement for bajra is very less, that is 25 to 30 degree. Rainfall, not much rainfall is needed, so bajra can literally be grown in the dry desertic areas also. 40 to 50 centimeter annual rainfall is required by bajra. And light sandy soil, it doesn't require too much fertile soil. That means literally it can grow anywhere, even in the desertic areas. So it grows in Rajasthan also because they have lots of sandy soil. Rajasthan is the leading producer of bajri, that is bajra. Gujarat is the next one, followed by Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. These are the four major millet producers in India. In Gujarat, Banaskantha district in Gujarat leads the millet production in Gujarat state. Then we come to a very important crop, that is maize crop. Maize is a wonderful crop, a really wonderful crop. We'll come to know how it is so good. Maize is a kharif crop, that means it can be grown during the monsoon season or just after the monsoon season. Very interesting thing about maize is it is the third most crop in the world after paddy and wheat. That makes maize quite a wonderful crop. Paddy is the largest food crop grown in the world. We had discussed that when we were discussing paddy or rice. Why paddy is the largest food grain crop grown in the world. China, staple food is rice. Whole of China eats that. Japan, all the countries lying below, that is Asiatic countries, most of them they eat rice. China is the largest populous country in the world. India is the second largest. If half of India eats rice, then also it comes to about 65 crore plus population of China. So paddy is the largest grown food grain crop in the world, followed by wheat. Then comes the number of maize. Favorable conditions. It grows more in hilly areas and hence it is the staple food of people living in the hilly regions. A very interesting fact. You can literally grow maize anywhere in the hills because it can grow on slopey areas. It doesn't need a flat area to grow. So it is very good to grow for the hilly people, those who live in the hilly areas, mountainous areas. It's very good for them to grow maize because they can grow on slopes. Water is required, but then water should be flowing away. It shouldn't remain stagnant. Maize grows better on slopey area. It needs black, hard, rocky soil and water having gentle flow. In hilly and mountainous areas, rain keeps falling gently, and that is the best requirement for growing the crop of maize. Plus it needs hard and rocky black soil that is usually available. It requires rainfall between 50 to 100. Now if it is hilly or mountainous areas, of course they will be getting somewhere around 50 to 100, more than that, so it's good for them. And temperature quite low, that is 21 to 27 degree in hilly and mountainous areas. These are comfortable temperatures where you can grow maize. Now what are the uses? Underline that and you can star mark also, it's very important. Maize contains starch. The plant kingdom, it uses photosynthesis in presence of sunlight and it makes food, that is starch, right? That is eaten by cows and buffaloes, and it gives us milk. So that starch is the food of the cattle, right? Goats, all the herbivorous animals, they eat grass or they eat leaves, etc., which is full of starch. Maize is full of starch, plus very important thing, it has oil protein. So oil is manufactured or it is extracted from maize, that is called maize oil. So in the hilly area, maize is dried up, then flour is made out of maize and roti chapatis are made out of maize. Plus maize is also used in those areas to extract oil, so they get edible oil from maize, so they don't have to look for edible oil outside their area. Full of starch, that means when we make roti chapati out of it, whatever is the requirement of the body, it fulfills. Hence it is used more in industries because it has biofuel also. Maize has the capacity to give out biofuel, so it is used, that biofuel is used in industries also. It is also used in making rotis, popcorn and edible oil. Usage of maize is now also increasing as cattle and buffalo food. Now whenever, that's okay, because when we are extracting oil from it, the residue that is left, the oil cake that remains, is served as fodder to the cattle. So nowadays the usage of maize as an oil cake is also beneficial for the cattle. The whole of the plant along with its stem, leaves and the maize on it, it's sometimes given to the cattle as green fodder. That is also useful. Now which are the producing regions? Rajasthan is written first. So Rajasthan is the highest producer of maize, followed by Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh. These are the major maize producing region. Now first is given Rajasthan, then it is given Uttar Pradesh. Now Uttar Pradesh is more fertile, having Ganges, Yamuna, all the rivers over there. Then why is Rajasthan first? Because Rajasthan is a dry area and they need crops that can grow in dry area. Whereas Uttar Pradesh is, as we know, Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh, they are the king of wheat production. So they don't have space to grow maize. Second thing, because they have sugar cane also growing in those areas, so farmers grow maize less. So Rajasthan tops production of maize in India, followed by Uttar Pradesh, then Bihar. In Gujarat, it is grown more in the Panchmahal, Dahod, Sabarkantha and Aravalli districts, which are full of hilly areas, slopy land. So that are the best circumstances and geographically also very good locations to grow. Now we come to a very important crop, that is nagli. Actually in the textbook it's given in a box, but then we should be learning it. What is nagli? Explain in detail. Finger millet is a cereal crop. As I discussed earlier, millet, if you are saying millet, then millet covers three of the major crops: jowar, bajra and nagli. These three are considered as millet crops. So English में उसका नाम finger millet है. Finger millet is a cereal crop. It is also known as African millet, because usually the Adivasi people or the tribal people, they grow this type of millet, which is very useful for them for making their chapatis, rotis, etc. So it is also known because originated from there. So African millet. Second name is finger millet. We know it by the name Nagli. It has lots of names. In Gujarat, it is also known by three other names. One is Nagli, another is Ragi, and another name is Bauta. Because these are regionally or very locally grown crops, so different locals have different names for it. The popular name is Ragi, but it is also known as Ragi, Nagli and Bauta. Finger millet is its English name. It is also alternatively known as African millet. तो तकरीबन 5 नाम है, चीज वही है. Nagli holds an important place in grass food crop of Gujarat. Now what is grass food crop? Grass food crop, as we were discussing maize, is the maize crop. Along with its stem, leaves, the maize, it is given to the animals as green fodder. So many times Nagli is grown for the purpose of giving green fodder to the cattle, especially milking animals, cows and buffaloes, so that it's healthy for them, gives lots of nutrients, plus also gives lots of milk. Underline important, Nagli is the staple food of the Adivasis or the Aborigines, that is the tribal people in the hilly region. These are tribal people who live secluded or separately from the rest of the society in the hilly areas. So in these hilly areas, as we see maize, jowar, millet, literally they can grow anywhere. So Nagli or Ragi, that crop is taken literally everywhere in the hilly areas. Among all grass food crop sown in Gujarat and in India, Nagli has the highest per hectare production capacity, because literally it can be grown anywhere, whichever type of soil is there, even if it is dry climate or the soil is of not good quality, rocky soil, then also you can grow Nagli. Even if it is a forest area, then also the tribal people grow Nagli. So per hectare production of Nagli is the highest where crop is concerned, grass crop is concerned. Nagli is an extremely nutritious grass food crop that we have. Now start underlining and star marking. Nutrients की इतनी variety बाकी किसी भी crop में नहीं मिलेगी. If I'm talking about Ragi, it contains high amount of protein, minerals and vitamins. All these three things, they are found in very high quantity in Ragi or Nagli. It contains high amount of protein, minerals and vitamins, which are very, very necessary for the Adivasi, Aborigine or the tribal people or the hilly people who live quite in extreme climates. Underline, it contains high amount of fiber, which is a very, very high requirement of people doing lots of labor work, because Adivasis, they have to do lots of labor work for survival. So fiber is essential for their body and they get fiber from Nagli. Hence it is very helpful for the patients of diabetes and heart, which are in continuous need of fiber. So not only the tribal people, but for diabetes and heart patients also, Ragi crop is very, very helpful. Moreover, Nagli also contains, please underline this, lots and lots of calcium. So जिसको जो घुटने का दर्द, joints के दर्द होते हैं, because calcium is found in less quantity, so the wear and tear requires more calcium. So that's a supplement of calcium. So Nagli contains more proportion of calcium, iron compared to other crops. It has more proportion of soluble iron that is found in the plants. Hence it is used for eliminating malnutrition and in producing baby food. This is very very important. जो हम बेबी फूड के डब्बे लेते हैं सेरेलैक वगैरह के, उसमें नागली का प्रपोर्शन बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. इट इज़ फॉर दिस रीज़न बिकॉज हम जो छोटे बच्चे को हाउ डू वी सप्लीमेंट और हाउ डू वी सप्लाई all the nutrition, because you see most of the nutritions that are required by the growing babies are available in the nagli grain. Now let us see one by one. Protein required, minerals, vitamins required, high amount of fiber, it's present in nagli, more proportion of calcium, iron. So whatever is required by the babies to grow properly and become healthy children, all of that is found in nagli. So in preparing baby food, the nagli crop or the nagli grain is taken into use. For example, if you're talking about Africa and many poor parts of India, there are lots of children who are facing malnutrition because they are not getting proper nutritional food. So these children are given biscuits made out of nagli or ragi. So whatever is required by them to remove the malnutrition, that means they might be needing calcium, they will be needing iron, they will be needing fiber, proteins, vitamins, minerals. So all of that is available. So रागी ग्रेन का फ्लावर बना के उसमें से बिस्किट वगैरह बना के all lots of delicacies can be made so that the nutrition reach the malnutrition. The Adivasi farmers eat rotla made from nagli flour, very very important. Biscuits, chocolates, toasts, naan khatai, wafer, papdi, etc. are made out from nagli flour, and it's quite healthy to have these things. So here we finished the food crop, that is the grains. First we learned paddy, then wheat, then jowar, then bajri, maize, and at last we learned nagli. These are the 6 food grain crops that are taught in this chapter. Now let us take pulses, all of them together, because pulses are lots and they are grown in many parts of India. Pulses are the main source of protein for vegetarians. The very first line tells us that pulses are the main source of protein for vegetarians. So if we are talking about non-vegetarians, they get protein because protein is eaten by herbivorous animals. The non-vegetarians, they eat the meat of these herbivorous animals, fish, etc., which give them high protein. Now vegetarians, we eat vegetables, so how will we get protein? So pulses is the answer for getting proteins. Yes, I know maximum of you don't like that, but then it gives. Now there is a long list of pulses. Yes, मुझे पता है दाल का कटोरा आता है तो साइड में, right? So children, they don't like pulses because of the taste, color maybe. तुवेर, मूंग, ग्राम, peas, beans, मैथ नहीं है, मठ है, उड़द, मैथ भी अच्छा नहीं लगता आपको, I know, are classified as pulses. Tuver, urad, moong, mat, they are kharif crops, whereas gram, that is chana, peas, watona aata hai jo, lentil, that is masoor ki dal, and they are all rabi crops. All Indian states grow pulses, so we are not specifying here who grows what. All major Indian states, whenever the climate is okay for the crop to go, some of these they do need monsoon season, some of them they do not need monsoon season, that water can be irrigated to the farms and they can grow crops. pulse crops. So most of the states, they grow all the pulses except those which experience heavy rainfall, which means that those states having high amount of rainfall, there it's not possible to grow pulses. For example, Cherrapunji in Meghalaya. So all those areas adjoining, that is Meghalaya, which gets 400 centimeters of rainfall. No, 365 दिन तो बारिश आती है, तो crop grow कब होगा, right? And lots of sunlight etc. is required. Sometimes dry, the soil should become dry so that the roots grow deep inside and catch hold of the soil. If they go get water on the top, the roots won't go inside, right? So for lots of reasons, the top among them is Madhya Pradesh. All the types of pulses grown in maximum number, that is Madhya Pradesh, followed by Rajasthan. When we are talking about Rajasthan, the areas that are bordering Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, these are the areas that are not desertic, right? You can grow lots of crops over there. Irrigation facilities are also available. Maharashtra, Odisha, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, they are all the major states producing pulses. Now we come to Gujarat. Please underline, tuver is grown more in Vadodara district, Moong and Mat in Kutch district, and Urad in Patan district. These are the highest districts producing particular pulses. Now, when pulse crop is taken, leguminous, आपने साइंस में पढ़ा होगा, leguminous plants, they fix nitrogen in the soil. So these pulse crops, they are called leguminous crops because these crops, when they are growing, they fix the nitrogen content in the soil, which is also very helpful for the soil plus other crops that are being taken. By growing pulses, the nitrogen level of the soil lost due to other crops increases. As a result, pulses are grown as intercrop with or after the main food crop. For example, wheat is taken during the winter season because it's a rabi crop. Then when it comes summer, then gram can be taken. Other pulses, moong, mat, all these can be taken. So that wheat crop which had taken the nitrogen content away from the soil can again be replenished by growing these pulse crops, so that nitrogen content is again available in the soil which is produced by the crops. When you take that gram crop, harvest is taken, then it is again time to grow wheat. Now how will wheat get nitrogen? Because you had grown crop of gram after wheat. So again when you take wheat, that gram crop which had produced nitrogen now is available to the next crop of wheat. So it is taken as an intercropping. Now we come to oil seeds. Now what are oil seeds? Oil seeds are those seeds which when crushed, oil is extracted or oil oozes out when it is crushed. So those seeds which produce oil, edible oil, which we can use in cooking, that is called, those seeds are called oil seeds. What are oil seeds? State their uses and name some of the important oil seeds. Seeds of crops from which oil can be extracted, they are called oil seeds. This is the definition of oil seeds. Seeds of crops from which oil can be extracted are called oil seeds. The first name given is groundnut, that is moongfali, not kharishing. Okay. Groundnut, when it is crushed, oil is extracted, which we know as groundnut oil or moongfali ka tel, right? So that groundnut is the seed, and when it is crushed, oil is extracted, which we use in cooking. So groundnut til means the tal, black til, black color ka tal aata hai, brown color ka tal aata hai. Soya bean, castor, कैस्टर वो एरंडा का तेल आता है जो गेहूं में हम मिक्स करते। मस्टर्ड, मस्टर्ड इज राई। यूपी, एमपी, ये सब जगह पे मस्टर्ड उगाते हैं, दैट इज राई। राई हम तड़का मारने में जो राई, काला छोटा सा राई इस्तेमाल करते हैं, दैट्स कॉल्ड मस्टर्ड इन इंग्लिश। व्हेन इट इज क्रस्ड वी गेट mustard oil, which is called sarson ka tel in Hindi. Sunflower, we know sunflower is grown in a farm, who is taken as a crop, and when crushed the sunflower seeds, they give lots of oil. These are the examples of oil seeds. Oil seeds, they hold a very important place in Indian meals, yes, but natural. If you don't have cooking oil, how will the food be prepared? Yes, we have at least 10 items in our plate every day, right? You know, lots of delicacies are prepared, right? None of those delicacies can be prepared without cooking oil, that is edible oil, and that is why oil seeds, they have a very important place in Indian cooking. After extracting edible oil, now the residue is left, because when you crush the oil, जो मूंगफली बचता है वो कोई खाने लायक तो होता नहीं है, right? Because हम मूंगफली को तोड़ के उसमें से दाना निकाल के खाते हैं. When you go to the groundnut oil extraction unit, वो एक एक मूंगफली कोई तोड़ने बैठता है. Whole of that is along with the cover, the case, it goes, right? So whatever remains, that is called oil cake. So oil cake is a mineral nutrition rich residue which is left after extracting oil, and that is very very useful as animal fodder, and it is also used as biotic manure, because it is still having, it's still vegetation and lots of things are still remaining in it. So it is very very useful as biotic manure, and it is also given as animal fodder to the animals. So students, we'll be stopping over here today for this lecture. As usual, you'll be getting an assignment along with this video. Thank you students.